Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the VRL Logistics Q2 FY22 results conference call hosted by ICICI Securities. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal the operator by pressing star then zero on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Abhijit Mitra from ICICI Securities. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Yes, thanks, operator, and good morning to all the participants, and thanks for joining in. We have, we are here to discuss Q2 FY22 results of VRL Logistics. We have from the management Mr. Sunil Nalavadi, CFO of VRL Logistics, to give his opening remarks. Over to you, Mr. Nalavadi.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Abhijit. Good morning to all participants. I am Sunil Nalavadi, CFO of VRL Logistics, and this is earnings calls of our company for the quarter 2 of FY21-22. On account of revamp of economy from impact of COVID, and being the organized player in the unorganized road transport sector in India, we are in a position to reach the highest ever quarterly revenue and profitability in this quarter. During this quarter, the total revenue of the company reached to 638 crores as against 442 crores during the same quarter of the last year, and it is increased by 44%. The increase in revenue is mainly contributed by the goods transport segment of the company. The revenue from goods transport segment is increased by 40% from 408 crores to 569 crores. The growth in revenue of GT segment is on account of increase in realization per ton by 7% and around 33% increase is on account of increase in tonnage. The increase in tonnage is on account of revamp in the economy out of the slowdown due to COVID impact and addition of the new customer, expansion in network by opening of new branches and focusing on geographic product-wise marketing. We are hoping that considering our focus to increase our network going forward to the untapped market by opening of new branches and the shifting of customers from unorganized players to organized players, the unorganized market who are contributing major share in the Indian transport industry, our growth pattern will continue even going forward. Then revenue from bus operation is also increased to rupees 50 crore from 17 crores in spite of reduction in buses by 54 numbers. The increase in revenue is mainly on account of increase in number of passengers. The total EBITDA of the company is increased by around 29% from 89 crores to 115 crores, and the percentage of total income is decreased from 20% to 18%. The increase in EBITDA in absolute terms is mainly contributed by again our goods transport segment, which is increased by 30% from 84 crores to 110 crores, and percentage to revenue is almost maintained at 20 to around 19%. The improvement in EBITDA is mainly on account of increase in goods transport volume and increase in freight rates periodically. The slight reduction in the margin is due to increase in the diesel cost, which is major cost of our operation. The diesel cost as a percentage to the revenue is increased from 27% to 31%, and we are continuously monitoring the diesel rates since diesel is major cost. In view of the better control of diesel cost, we are focusing to procure more quantity of diesel from the refinery along with the biodiesel. Currently, we are having our own pumps in 6 locations, and another one is in the pipeline to commence. Further, we are passing the increase in cost by increasing the freight rates. The diesel price is increased from 74 rupees to 95 rupees per liter, whereas our procurement cost is increased from 67 to almost around 89 rupees. The tire cost also a little bit increased in this quarter. It is increased from 1.66% to the revenue to 2.78%. The increase in tire cost is due to issue of more tires to the vehicle during the current quarter. Due to increase in volumes, the percentage of fixed cost to the revenue have been reduced. The employee cost, which is a major fixed cost in our company, is reduced from 16% to around 13.76%. The EBITDA bus segment also improved from minus 88 lakhs to 32 lakhs plus and total EBIT of the company increased from 51 crores to 75 crores. And percentage to revenue is increased from 11.47% to 11.83%, despite the little bit decrease in the EBITDA margin, because the depreciation is a fixed expenses and percentage of depreciation to the revenue has been reduced from 8.83% to 6.22%. On account of improvement in EBITDA and EBIT, the overall profit before tax of the company is increased from 41 crores to 66 crores, and percentage to revenue is increased from 9.44% to 10.29%. And the profit after tax is increased from 31 crores to 49 crores, and percentage to revenue is increased from 6.99% to 7.75%. When we compare our performance in this quarter to the previous quarter, the total revenue of the company increased by around 53% from 417 crores to 638 crores. And the increase in revenue is mainly contributed by again the goods transport segment of the company. The revenue from goods transport segment increased by 48% from 385 crores to 569 crores. The increase in revenue of goods transport segment is on account of increase in realization by 8% and increase in tonnage by 40%. The revenue from bus operation is also increased from 18 crores to 50 crores. In spite of the number of vehicles, buses have been reduced from 291 to 280 buses. The increase in revenue again is on account of increase in the number of passengers. The total EBITDA of the company is increased from 40 crores to 115 crores, and percentage to revenue is increased from 9.48% to 18%. The increase in EBITDA mainly contributed by the goods transport segment, which is increased from 43 crores to 110 crores, and percentage to revenue is increased from 11% to 19%. The increase in EBITDA is mainly on account of increase in goods transport volumes that has been resulted into reduction in fixed cost percentage to the revenue. And the EBITDA of bus segment is also turned positive in the current quarter from minus 3.8 crores to plus 32 lakhs. And the total EBIT of the company is increased from 1.88 crores to 75 crores. The increase in EBIT is mainly again from the goods transport segment, which is increased from 14 crores to 79 crores, and bus segment EBIT is improved from minus 7 crores to minus 2.84 crores. On account of increase in EBITDA and EBIT, the overall profit before tax of the company is increased from minus 7 crores to 66 crores, and simultaneously the net profit of the company for the quarter is increased from minus 6 crores to plus 50 crores. As at 30th/9/2021, the net debt of the company is increased to rupees 154 crores as compared to debt as of 31st March, it was around 101 crores. During this half year, the company has invested around 83 crores in the capital expenditure. Again, it is into mainly the goods transport segment. Since we are expanding our network and also adding many new customers, we expect that the volume growth will continue in the coming quarters. Further, as we are having the best method of operation with our own infrastructure facilities, we can have a better control on key expenses such as diesel cost, etc. by procuring this diesel from various sources. And due to good kind of volume growth, the efficiencies in the system has improved, especially the turnaround time of the vehicles with optimum load factors. With this, we can achieve more kilometers per vehicle and also higher revenue per kilometers. In this background, our revenue growth momentum will continue in the coming days with a maintenance of the margins at the current level. So with this brief introduction, now I request to the participant to ask their questions.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin with the question and answer session. Anyone wishing to ask a question may please press star and 1 on your touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is on the line of Alok Deora from Motilal Oswal. Please go ahead.
Good morning, sir, and congratulations on a great set of numbers. Sir, just wanted to understand that the margins, so it's almost back to the 17 to 18% levels. So just wanted to understand, like the diesel prices have increased further post this quarter. from October onwards. So how are we? And we had also taken a price hike at end of 1Q. So how are we looking at margins going forward? Is it like a bit of a one-off that we have managed this kind of margins, or it's kind of sustainable at these levels?
Yeah, definitely the margins are sustainable, especially with respect to this increase in diesel cost. See, our strategy in 2-3 ways. One is what we are internally, improving upon our system is that let us, procure more diesel quantity from the refineries through our own pumps, so that it will be cheaper by almost 3 to 4 rupees as compared to market rate. Currently, we are procuring almost around 40-45% of diesel quantity from refineries, and around 40-45% from the designated pumps, again with IOCL, and around 10 to 12% of quantity we are procuring to biodiesel. So going forward, we are targeting to increase the diesel quantity from the refineries, so that it will be cost benefit of almost around 3 to 4 rupees per liter. And apart from that, we are examining the increase in the freight rates also, so that whatever additional diesel cost will come, one is we will have a control through our own mechanism, and other one, whatever increase will be there, it will be passed it on to the customers. So with this, definitely the margins are sustainable.
Sure, sir. And also, sir, so that capex, if you could just highlight what is the capex number we are looking at, because we were also looking at one major capex in a transportation hub. So if you could just highlight on that, what's the status there, and are we going ahead with that, or if you could just throw some light on that, sir.
Yeah, in the first half year, we have already invested around 83 crores. And this is predominantly for our goods transport vehicles for buying of the new vehicles. Again, since the volumes are growing up, we are targeting again to add more number of vehicles in our system, so that we will have a better control on the margins if we add more number of vehicles. So in view of that, again, see, on a full year basis, the capex will be in the range of around 140 to 150 crores.
Sure. And any update on the one of the hubs we were looking to procure?
Yeah, that actually we are still verifying the documents and all, but there is no conclusion yet.
Sure, sir. So just one last quick question from my side. So in the bus operations, we have seen a very decent kind of pickup, which was kind of not expected at this level. So has it like almost moved to the normalized run rate, or how do we see the segment going from here? Yeah, that would be from my side, sir.
Yeah, based on the current trends, definitely the growth will come in this quarter also, in quarter 3, because of this festival and holiday season. And this segment again, we are hoping that it will back to that original shape with the EBITDA margin of say around 15-16% in the coming days.
Sure, sir. Thank you and all the best, sir. That's all from my side.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Chetan Shah from Jeet Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. So good morning and wishing everybody a very happy and a prosperous Diwali.
Yeah,
just one quick question, sir. Continuation of the previous colleague. Can you just kindly highlight which are the segment which has contributed better, or they are back to pre-COVID level in terms of the area in which we operate, just to get a sense of the ground reality of the economic activity? If you can share that number, that will be very helpful. And second, in terms of understanding the incremental cost pressure, both on the count of higher diesel price compared to the price hike which we have already taken, what is the extra price increase you think we need to take to retain and maintain the margin? And do you think industry is well poised to absorb any kind of incremental cost pressure from here on? These are the two things from my side. Thank you.
Yeah, with respect to your first question with regarding the contribution from the different segments, see, almost all segments the improvement is there, and there is a extraordinary performance in case of the textile commodities. There actually earlier the contribution was say around 15% in quarter one. So that has been increased to around 17-18% in the quarter two. That is one. And in rest of the commodities, be it industrial goods, be it pharmaceuticals, be it all agriculture commodities and automobiles, in rest of all commodities, the contribution is almost similar. So that's the reason there is an improvement in all segments and there is an outperformance in textile. And with respect to the diesel cost and the sustainability of the margin, see, I already told one is we can have a control on the diesel cost through different mode of procurement. That is one. See, even though the price is increasing, say in the range of say 6 rupees, in the month of October itself, the price is already increased by 6 rupees. But for us, again, we can have a minimized increase in the cost due to change in our procurement policies. That is one. And apart from that, whatever increase will be there, even we increase rates in the range of even 3 to 4%, we are hoping that it will take care of the increase in the diesel cost. So that we are examining on route basis where actually we can increase the rates and all that examination is on the, we are working on it. And definitely we are taking care of, passing off this increase in diesel cost to the customers.
Yeah, thanks for that, sir. Just one question. Does our vehicle compatible with the biofuel, and do you think we need to take any kind of capex to change the vehicle, and does this require any sizable or a significant capex? If that's just
absolutely no. Just we have to change the storage mechanism for the biodiesel. But we have already done for all our vehicles. There is no additional any capex is required to use a biodiesel.
Thank you. That's it from my side, sir. Wish you all the best.
Thank you. The next question is on the line of Anirudh VN from Nagoba. Please go ahead.
Hi, happy Diwali. And,
yeah, thank you. Thank you.
I just wanted to know that, you say in your presentation that you procured about 8 electric vehicles. So I just wanted to know your broad, roadmap for electric vehicles now that, you have fast charging networks, that Tata has deployed on highways. So I just wanted to know what is your view on that as far as goods transport vehicles are concerned.
Yeah, with respect to electric vehicles, we are already using around 28 to 29 vehicles in our system. And these are all small capacity vehicles which are operating from hub to spoke. And going forward, again, the charging point and all, actually, we developed ourselves in our branches. So currently, we are focusing more towards electric vehicles. Wherever possible, we want to introduce these vehicles, because the cost of operation is much lower as compared to the normal vehicle. But initially, it requires some good amount of capex. Capex in the sense, if you see the capex per 1 ton capacity, the normal vehicle and electric vehicle is much different. So that's the reason we are ready to put that kind of a capex to minimize our operational cost. And wherever possible from hub to spoke operation, actually we want to procure more of an electric vehicle. And then these numbers will further increase in the coming days.
Okay. As a follow-up, so as I understand, this is only hub to spoke that you are doing. So between hub and hub, that long haul you are not considering as of now, correct?
Yeah, we are examining those options, but considering the load factor and even see what will happen if the electric vehicle, the gross weight of the vehicle weight will be much more as compared to the normal vehicle because of the weight of the batteries and all this thing. So considering these factors, we are also examining to see that currently we are buying 1 ton, 2 ton capacity vehicles as electric vehicles. Now we are working on say 6-tonner vehicle, 7-tonner vehicle, whether we can adopt those vehicles into our system.
Okay.
But to have like 20 tonner, 24, 28 tonner vehicles, what we are operating, at those capacity vehicles, we cannot, or even electric vehicles are not available as of today.
And these are retrofitted to your existing chassis, or these are new vehicles that you are procuring?
No, these are all completely new vehicles.
Okay. 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 Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Mukesh Saraf from Spark Capital. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity. So the first question is on the addition of vehicles. At the end of first quarter, we had said that we'll probably end up spending about 60-70 crores for vehicle addition, and now we're talking about close to 150 crores, so we are doubling that. So could you give some sense on how many vehicles we'll be adding and what gives us? I mean, obviously we have kind of doubled the capacity addition.
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Saraf. Sir, can you speak a bit louder? We're not able to hear you.
Yeah, is it better now?
Much better. Thank you.
Yeah. So could you give some sense, sir, on what has driven this, vehicle addition plans? And in relation with that, how is your outside, vehicle hiring charges moving?
So, see, our strategy is very clear that if the volumes are increasing, if the assured volumes are there, definitely we are going to increase our own capacity rather than depending on the hired vehicle. So with that background, since we acknowledge the good kind of a volume growth in the current year, the current quarter, we added around 138 vehicles in the current quarter.
Right.
So
what will be the plan for the year, sir, in terms of vehicle addition?
And similar kind of vehicles will be added in the coming quarter.
Okay.
Around 100 vehicles per quarter, at least we are planning in next 2 quarters.
Right. Great. And so this quarter, how was the vehicle hire charges? Because last quarter it was about 25 crores. It came in at maybe 6% of sales. How was it this quarter, sir?
Yeah, again, higher charges, the percentage is more or less same it is as compared to the percentage to the revenue.
Okay. We maintained it around that 6% number.
Yeah, it is around 7% to the revenue.
Okay.
Whereas in absolute terms, it is increased by 62% from 25 crores to 41 crores.
Sure.
And percentage to revenue is maintained at around 7%.
Right. And we'll want to maintain this kind of level, sir, 6-7%, because we are adding our own vehicles. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, around 7 to 8% we will maintain the higher charge.
Understood. And the second part is in the opening remarks you had mentioned about network addition.
Yeah.
Could you give some clarity, sir? I mean, are we adding more, these collection centers in the North India or East India? I mean, which regions we are adding? Could you give some more sense on how we are placed in each of these regions?
Yeah, basically we are planning to add more number of branches in the untapped market, especially in the North region, Eastern region and Northeast region. And currently we have already added around 22 branches in the this quarter. And going forward, we are planning to increase our network. We are planning to add another 100 branches into our foray in next 4 to 5 months. Especially these branches will be in the untapped market because now earlier we were unable to expand our network in these areas because of the compliance issues and all these things. Now we are seeing better control, and most of the people, they want to have a compliance in their transactions. So in view of that, we are planning to add around 100 branches in these areas, especially the north, eastern part and northeastern part.
Understood. And these are all company-owned branches, or is it like franchised out, sir?
Yeah, these are all company-owned branches, what we are planning. Yes, except, we opened around 4 to 5 branches in Kashmir also. So those are agency branches, but in rest of the places, we are having our own branches. And initially, to begin with, these are all small offices, like around 2,000 square feet, 3,000 square feet area with 1 or 2 staff. And as and when the tonnage will improve, again the space will be expanded.
Right. So I mean, as such, opening up these branches, you can break even quite quickly at the branch level. That is not an issue, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. See, the one thing what will happen, whatever new area we enter, the rest of the branches will support to this branch. Say, for example, the moment we open a branch at Srinagar, the booking from all the places to Srinagar has been started. Even though origination from the Srinagar, it will take time, but delivery to that area will start from the day one.
Right.
So that it will not take much period to reach a break-even point.
Understood. Great, sir. Thank you so much for this. I'll get back in the queue.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rishit Shah from Dhanki Securities Private Limited. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, sir. So while most of the questions have been answered, just one question. In the bus operations, can you just give us the number of passenger increase as well as the seat occupancy?
Yeah, sure.
Year on year, sorry.
Can we move on to the next question?
Yeah. The passenger revenue is increased, from 17 crores to 50 crores. And this revenue is mainly on account of increase in number of passengers. Almost it is 200%, say 1,33,000 passengers to 4,77,000 passengers. And the realization is not up to the mark. Still, it is in the range of around 1,100 rupees. And the seat occupancy level has been increased by 7%. From earlier last year it was around 71%. Now it has been raised to 78%.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vikram Suryavanshi from Phillip Capital India Private Limited. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, sir, and happy Diwali. Most of the questions were already answered, but can you just explain the biodiesel consumption was a bit lower than what we normally target? So what was the concern?
Now, just I want to give some brief about the biodiesel. Even the cost of the biodiesel is increased drastically because of their raw material cost is increased, especially the palm oil prices. So that's the reason the quantity will be maintained at around 10 to 12% because there is no much gap between the cost of diesel through refinery versus the biodiesel. So considering this fact, we are more focusing on procurement of a more quantity through the refineries, through our own pumps, and the biodiesel quantity will be maintained at around 10 to 12%.
Okay. And sir, just a slightly technical question. In this biodiesel, is it tested by our own experience in terms of quality and performance, or is it approved by any government agency so far?
No, it is tested by our own. Our technical team has examined the usefulness of this biodiesel and how we can use it on our vehicles. That's why our source of biodiesel also very limited through very limited suppliers. Because there are many suppliers in the market, they call it as a biodiesel, but that fuel is not suitable for our vehicles. So we identified 2-3 sources. Only from those sources we are buying because only that fuel is suitable for us.
And you have already explained about outside vehicle usage, but is there any significant increase in the cost we are paying for per ton basis or rate, or is it mainly because of the volume growth what we have increased?
Yeah, obviously, see, one is always our vehicle should be focused more, and our turnaround time, the load factor should increase on our vehicle. And because of the increase in volume in the last quarter, that is also another big factor that the turnaround time of the vehicle have been improved a lot, and along with the load factors. So considering all these parameters, only on need basis we engage the outside vehicles. If the volume growth again, definitely the momentum is there as of today, and with this, even in quarter 2, we hired the vehicles in the range of around 7-8% of our expenses as a lorry hire charges. So going forward also, the more or less the percentage will be continued.
Yeah, I got that, sir. My point was like the rates what we were paying last year for say a particular one truck outside vehicle and today what they are paying. Is there any significant difference, or I was just trying to understand is there any very high increase in freight rates we are paying for outside vehicle for same capacity or?
Yeah, in correspondence to the increase in diesel cost, again, lorry charges per kilometer also increasing.
Okay, mainly it's because of diesel cost. Otherwise, if there is not much because of market tightness or something, we don't see much impact.
No. It is mainly on account of the diesel price.
Understood. Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Harsh Shah from Dimensional Securities Private Limited. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Good morning, sir, and congratulations for great numbers.
Yeah,
so my question is, I had joined the coin a bit later. So can you share the volume growth for the first half for company as well as industry?
No, we do not have any industry information.
Or can you give us an indicative hint whether you have gained the market share or how is it?
Yeah, definitely. See, a lot of new customers have been added into the system.
And
if you see the half year basis, the tonnage is increased by almost around 63%.
63% for first half.
First half, year on year.
Okay. And sir, so we are seeing that we are once again embarking on a capex cycle. So just wanted to understand, say if I look at VRL's number in FY17 to FY19, we used to do fixed asset turnover of around 2x.
Yeah.
But it has dropped down to almost 1.1x. So here on, can we expect over next 2 to 3 years from the existing gross block plus the capex which we are doing to go back to 1.8, 2x kind of fixed asset turnover?
Yeah, definitely it is possible. The reason is because of the volume growth and because of again the improvement in the realization also, the asset turnover ratio will improve drastically now.
Okay, and if I have to ask you what kind of trend you are seeing for next 2-3 years, can we expect double-digit volume growth CAGR for next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, even during last call I commented that definitely we are hoping that the year on year there will be 15% volume growth. So definitely that is achievable.
Okay, and so currently, so the margins which we are doing, this quarter we did around 18%. So definitely this margin is post Ind AS 116. But if I look at the historical numbers of VRL Logistics, we used to do 17-18% pre-Ind AS margins, which would translate into 20 to 22% post Ind AS 116 margins. So do you think that is achievable if the cycle turns in our favor?
No, even if you see pre-Ind AS, our margins were in the range of around 14-15%. And that has been reached to around 19-20% now, especially in this segment. So this 19-20% is going to continue. There is an improvement, say 14-15% to 19-20% is improved. One is Ind AS, and on a normal basis, this 19-20% post Ind AS, it is a maintainable margin in goods transport segment.
Okay, and sir, in case of bus transportation, any update on the nationwide permits and what is our expansion plans there?
Yeah, currently see that all India permit has been given for the buses. Now the state-wise permit is not at all required. So considering this fact, now our focus is to use existing vehicles at a more optimum level with a hardly increase in numbers, say around 15-20 vehicles. Wherever some of the routes we need to use a new vehicle. But apart from that, once these vehicles reach at a good utilization level, then we can think expansion. But till that, we are concentrating more on in an existing market how best we can use these vehicles. So once this segment reaches at a normal level of growth with the profitability, then post that definitely we will think about expansion.
Okay, and just the last question, what would be the capacity utilization for our goods transport and bus transport for this quarter?
Bus transport, I told the utilization is around 78%, the passenger capacity utilization.
Mm-hmm.
And in case of goods, up to half always it will be a full capacity we are using. But because of the increase in volume, the turnaround time has been improved a lot in the current quarter.
Or if we exclude if we take the average capacity for the quarter, then what would be the utilization?
About?
Sorry?
No, will you repeat your question, please?
No, if I take the average capacity, that is old capacity plus the new average of old capacity and the new capacity which we added, what would be the utilization in terms of tonnage in our goods transport?
Yeah, tonnage utilization always it will be 100%. So we are adding the vehicle based on the requirement. So we will not add a vehicle and see for a capacity or seek for a tonnage. Since the tonnage is available in hand, that's why we are adding the vehicle. See, temporarily we engage outside vehicles. If the volumes are continuously increasing, then we shift, instead of hiring the vehicle, we shift to own vehicle.
Okay, understood. Thank you. That was it from my side. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Suraj Navandar from Sampada Investments. Please go ahead.
Hello, good morning, sir, and happy Diwali to you. Sir, what was the I joined the call a bit late. What was the volume growth for this quarter? And if you can compare that to the pre-COVID levels, so not last year, but the FY 19.
I request, please you refer our con call record.
Okay. And so we are doing a lot of capex, opening new branches and buying new vehicles. So what gives us that confidence that so much of volume growth is coming? Is it based on your interaction with your customers, or what gives us that confidence?
The confidence mainly on account of one is tonnage growth from the existing customers, and apart from that, we are adding a lot of new customers across all sectors. So that is giving confidence for us that definitely these volume growths are sustainable. And in view of that, basically the new branches we are opening in an untapped market. See, all these days we were unable to establish our business in these areas, especially the eastern, northeastern market, and even some of the parts of the North India, only on account of the low compliance level in those areas. Now, what is happening after GST, after e-way bill and e-invoicing? Now, a lot of transformation is happening from non-compliant transaction to compliant, and even many of the players actually they want to, shift from unorganized to organized players. That's the reason actually which is giving a lot of confidence for us. And we have examined even some of the sectors that in our 40 years of business we are unable to carry single consignment of these commodities. Now, most of these commodities are shifting, especially about the coconut product from south to north, which are moving, and the battle net was Supari, what we call. We were unable to get any load of these commodities earlier. Now, many of the customers are approaching, and we are carrying these goods. That's why it is giving a lot of confidence for us. And even from the north side, the all leather products, especially the Kanpur and surrounding areas, earlier we were unable to get these goods. Now, actually, many customers are approaching to transport these goods across India. So that's the reason actually we are very much confident, and a lot of new customers are coming into our foray. That's the reason we are opening up of our network by opening the new branches.
Okay. And just a clarification that you talked about many people selling their goods first time in some new territory. So they were transporting those goods with someone else and now they are doing with us, or they are selling in that territory for the first time?
No, they are shifting from other operators to us.
Okay. So we are getting the market share from other players. Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Abhijit Mitra from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Yes, thanks for taking my question. So I have two questions. First of all, I missed the data point. You said that you will add 100 branches in those three regions, northeast and northeast. What is the time frame for this branch addition?
Yeah, around 4 to 5 months.
4 to 5 months. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
See, we already surveyed the market. We identified the place. Just to identify the location, establish the office, to take some of the GST permissions and all these things, it will take some time. So within a period of around 4 to 5 months, these branches will operate.
Okay. Got it. And second question I had is regarding your Gujarat hub. So I'm sure with textile recovering, you would have seen a decent ramp up in the business from that particular hub. What more, ramp up potential do you have in terms of either revenues or in terms of ROC, if you can, highlight over the next, 18 to 24 months that you foresee?
Yeah, this is a good question actually. We in the overall tonnage improvement, we did around 40% growth and all. But from Surat, the increase in tonnage is almost around 150% compared to year-on-year growth. In the, say, if you see the July, August, and September, almost it is increased by around 150% in tonnage. That's the kind of a growth actually we achieved from that area. And thanks to our infrastructure facility that we are in a position to handle this commodity. Because earlier, most of the times we were unable to book the consignment because of sudden rush in the market. But this time we handle complete volume from this market. So that's why on account of that, it is almost increased by around 150% year-on-year growth is there from the Surat area.
Okay, and in terms of either revenue potential or return potential, how much more can this deliver?
Yeah, definitely. Still there is a scope. Now what is happening? Even most of the return goods from different places to Surat, actually only VRL is providing the service. And because we are having a good delivery office or storage facility in our premises, that's why even to Surat also it has been improved by almost around 50-60%. We are hoping that that will also reach to the level of say around 100% growth in the coming days from rest of the places to Surat.
Okay. Now just to quantify it, investment was around 100 crores. So what is the revenue now?
Yeah, revenue is almost we are doing say around 140, around 110 crores, 120 crores.
Okay, and asset turn can reach what level as per you? 2x, 3x it can reach? Or?
Yeah, it will take some time because it is investment in a asset, means property. So over a period of next 4 to 5 years, definitely it will reach around 2 times.
Okay, got it. That's all from me. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. The next question is on the line of Prateek Kumar from Antique Stock Broking. Please go ahead.
Hello. Yeah, good morning, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. I wanted to ask that we seems to be in super robust environment and also tailwinds related to us being organized are helping us. I wanted to ask that when did we last felt such kind of environment for us in terms of tonnage growth?
No, the question was not clear. Will you repeat, please?
I wanted to ask that when did we last saw such kind of growth environment for us, our company, or maybe industry?
No,
I mean, in last 5 years, 10 years.
Yeah, in the recent quarters, there were no such kind of a growth as well as the margin growth. See, just we compared even from say 2020 onwards. It has been already covered in the presentation also. So in quarter 1 of FY20, we were at 542 crores top line. Now we reached to 638 crores. And with the EBITDA level of 91 crores during that time, now we reached to 115 crores. So it is much more than the pre-COVID level what our performance is. And if there are no disturbance, again, this momentum will continue.
Also, you said that first half tonnage growth was 65% year on year. What can be because this is obviously because of base normalization, but as base catches up, so what can be the tonnage growth in second half? It's 15% you said, I just missed that number.
Yeah, 15% year on year growth.
Tonnage growth in second half. Okay.
Second half, yes, tonnage growth.
So that will take our annual tonnage growth to what number? Maybe 40%?
Tonnage now 40%, then another 15%. So definitely.
We don't have an absolute base tonnage number, that's why I'm asking. What will be our annual tonnage growth number if, let's say, we have a second half 15% tonnage growth?
Yeah, it will be in the range of around 45% year-on-year.
45%.
Yeah, because first half is around 60% plus. So now it will be around 15%. So with this, it will be in the range of around 40-45%.
And 5 to 7% would be realization growth, right? So we will have a 50% top line.
7-8% realization is already the rates are increased. This will continue, and again we are thinking about the increase in the rates. There will be further improvement in realization also.
So we may have a 50% top line growth in goods segment
on a full year basis.
Yes, full year basis.
Yeah, it is 1,700 plus roughly 2,300, 2,400 crores top line.
Okay. And just one question on bus segment. So while we are looking to add fleet in goods segment, is there outlook on addition there? Because that fleet number is continuously now going down.
Where in buses?
Buses, yes.
Yeah, buses. See, the 50 crores has been already clocked in Q2. There will be improvement from this 50 crores. See, according to me, the revenue will reach to around 60-65 crores at least.
Hello.
Yeah.
So sorry, I think your voice. I couldn't hear you.
No,
can you repeat that?
In this quarter, we did around 50 crores. So again, there will be a growth of say 15-20% growth we are expecting in coming quarters, especially in Q3 and Q4. A little bit again slowdown will be there because of these exams and all. But the true picture in bus segment will start from Q1 of the next financial year. There will be improvement in Q3 and Q4, but if the things are normal from Q1 of the next year, it will bounce back to the original shape like turnover. Because of the number of vehicles have reduced, the turnover will be in the range of around say 250 crores also, and with a EBITDA margin of around 16-17%.
Sure, sir. That's helpful. Thanks for all the answers.
Thank you. The next question is on the line of Sachin Trivedi from UTI. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Actually, my question's been answered, but I will still want to actually go back to the point that let's say you're guiding or you are working towards achieving a 20% volume growth for let's say a double-digit volume growth for next couple of years. In which case, let's say for at least next 2 years, what kind of capex that you would look to do, if you can guide towards that. You already alluded to the fact that you're working towards increasing the asset turn ratios, but still trying to figure out what kind of capex that you would be doing in next 2 years, assuming you were to achieve that 20% volume growth.
No, again, just I want to clarify, the growth in volume is nothing to do with the capex. See, the addition of the vehicles and all, it is to bring efficiency in the system. But instead of that, yes, as our strategy is to adopt, or to provide service more from the own vehicles. So overall capex number will be in the range of around 120-130 crores in a year. With the current whatever the expectations of the volume growth.
Okay. And sir, in terms of you've been also pointing to the fact that there are newer and newer geographies you are trying to add branches. So just trying to understand in terms of large clusters, if we were to say that how much market is untapped for us, if you can give us some color. I know I'm asking a broad question, but in the large, if you can answer that.
Yeah, just I want to give clarity about the region-wise contribution. See, currently the south region is contributing almost around 40% of our volumes, and this is based on the originality of the booking. and the west and the north are contributing in the range of around 20%, and the rest of the market is contributing, say, around 10% to the volumes. Now, going forward, definitely there is a scope that we can reach these regional growth or regional contribution from even west to north in the level of, say, around 30%, 35% on an immediate basis. That's what actually we are planning. And the south is, see, definitely whatever we are having a good kind of a presence in all these things. And here the more contribution will come from addition of a new customers and growth from the existing customers. But from north and some of the western market, even the eastern market, these are not at, these are completely untapped market. So we are hoping that there will be good growth of volume contribution from these regions going forward. So even there is a scope that even these regions can increase their contribution to in the range of, say, around 25 to 30% in the coming days from the current level of 20%.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so immediately these are the markets that you would, but eventually, is it fair to understand that we were present in some of these areas, but we were well entrenched in south, and now we are actually trying to grow ourselves and improve our network in some of these markets which are known to us, but now we will go full-heartedly in these.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And sir, just one last question with respect to the employee cost. So I know for this expansion we might have to add number of employees as well. But in terms of if I want to understand the cost inflation, because now everything is getting expensive. So in terms of drivers payment or in terms of employee cost which are on the fixed role for us, how do you see that inflation for us?
Yeah, basically the drivers are again the driver payments are completely variable cost. Only their minimum wages is accounting as a salary and balance is accounting as a part of our operational cost. And with respect to the other than driver employees cost, it may increase in the range of around 12 to 15% in absolute percentage in next year.
This is how it is reported as the employee cost, because anyways the drivers are reported in your
part of the operating expense.
Okay. Yeah, sure. That helps.
Thank you. The employee cost, what we are, sorry.
Despite that, we are saying that in goods transport segment we can do close to 19 to 20% margin.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Thanks a lot, sir.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rajesh Ainar from ITI Limited. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, hello, please.
Yeah, hello, sir. So my question is on the alternate fuel or the next generation fuel that are being talked about. So one is of course and it is segment specific. I think SCV and LCV space. How exactly does the EV economics work? Again, similar question is for buses. Does EV make any sense even despite if we include the FAME 2 subsidies for the buses, which is at the central as well as in various states have announced it. And the third question is for the goods, MHCV, CNG or LNG. How economically, how is the feasibility of switching over to these fuels? And are we thinking at it in, let's say, over next year, say we have a significant shift to these fuels or technologies by us?
No, CNG, LNG option is not immediate option for us. That is very clear because we also studied feasibility of those fuels, alternate fuels. But considering the kind of storage, the kind of modification the vehicle is to be done. See, for existing vehicles and even the addition what we are doing currently, see, definitely the alternate fuel of CNG and LNG is not suitable as of today. And even the availability of the CNG and LNG across India is again a question mark. The pumps available or suppliers from various parts of the country. That is another issue. So currently we are not looking for that option on an immediate basis. So going forward, if any change in technology and if such kind of a vehicles will come into the market, then definitely we will look into that option.
And sir, for FCV, LCV, how does the economics work for EV transfer? I mean, initial cost versus, so what kind of break-even, let's say we see if we have to shift it, let's say today, how much time will the money be recovered?
So basically, since these are not suitable as of today based on our current level of operation, so we have not studied at that level.
Not for CNG, I'm asking FCV, LCV in the context of EV, electrification. So if we buy, let's say, EV, how
EV vehicles, okay.
Yeah.
EV to our vehicles?
Yeah. So if you have to convert IC or let's say not go for IC for new fleet and buy EV, how would the economics work? What is the break-even in that, given our current running and all those things?
No, the smaller vehicles now, the cost per kilometer on a normal basis, it is in the range of around, say, 35 to 40 rupees on a diesel basis. Now, electric vehicle, the cost will be, it is in the range of around 15 to 18 rupees.
This is per kilometer?
Per kilometer.
And typically, how much, let's say, our vehicles do in a month?
Yeah, in a place of investment of 2 lakh, we have to invest around 5 lakh rupees.
Okay. And sir, buses also there is a lot of subsidy which is offered by state as well as center and the same thing. So passenger buses, I'm talking about. So is that an area where we will need to shift to EV? Because initial cost is very high and break-even, I mean, without subsidies it would be difficult. Is that what your observation is?
So for buses currently, see, we are just our immediate concentration is how to bring back that segment at a good profitable segment how we used to operate earlier, and about the bringing of a new kind of vehicles and all these things we have not yet examined.
Sir,
sorry to interrupt, Mr. Rajesh, may we request that you return to the question queue? There are participants waiting for their turn.
Okay, sure. I'll join the queue. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Dipesh from Equirus. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Thanks for taking my questions. Sir, in the last call, you gave a guidance of 15% tonnage growth in the second half, and you said that you have enough capacity for that. But now that you're adding the capacity, but you have maintained the 15% tonnage growth guidance. So just wanted to understand, is your guidance conservative, or you're basically building the capacity for the next few years?
Yeah, it is. See, once we establish this capacity, it will be there for at least 15, 16 years. It is always a long-term view. And currently, see, the thing is again because of this increase in diesel cost, because of increase in the lorry hire charges, because again.
Hello, Mr. Nanavati. Mr. Sunil Nanavati, we are not able to hear you. Ladies and gentlemen, we seem to have lost the audio from the management's line. Please stay connected while we try to regain the audio. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for patiently holding. We now have the line from Mr. Nanavati reconnected. Over to you, sir. Mr. Dipesh?
Yeah, sir. Sorry, we lost you, sir.
For the benefit of the management.
Yeah, sir. So I was just asking the capacity that you're building. You said that you already have a capacity for this kind of a growth. So are you basically building for next few years, or your guidance is being conservative? Yeah.
No, definitely the plan is once we add the vehicle, definitely we have to operate these vehicles like 15, 20 years. That's a kind of always historically, if you see, that's the kind of life of a vehicle what we are operating. And basically, see, again, because of the increase in fuel cost, the lorry charges are increasing. And because of the improvement economy, again, the availability of the vehicles on some of the selective routes is a problematic. To come out of these issues, actually, we are concentrating or we are moving some of the capacity through our own vehicles.
Got it, sir. And sir, given the price hikes that you have taken on the last 1 year, so how much the realization growth can we see in the second half? I think 15-20% is the right number that you're looking at. If you don't take any further price hike. Yeah.
No, see, last year to this year, again, the realization, if we will not increase the rates, then it will be in the range of around 7-8%.
7-8%. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay. And lastly, sir, after success of Surat hub that you talked about one of the questions, are you planning any more such hubs in the North India where you are gaining market share?
So in rest of the places, actually, we shifted to bigger areas on a rented premises only, leased premises. So in Delhi, actually, we are expanding again on a leased premises. The existing owner himself is constructing additional space for us. And similarly, we shifted in Hyderabad. In Chennai also, actually, we are shifting to new location with an additional capacity space. And in Kolkata also, some of the space expansion has been already taken. Like that, see, in those areas, wherever it is available on a lease basis, we will prefer that only rather than having the own hub. And since in Surat, there were no such kind of a warehouses earlier, that's why we built it on our own, as our own facility.
Got it. And sir, how much vehicle life do you depreciate? How much time you depreciate the vehicle over, sir? It's 10 years or 15 years?
Yeah, we are depreciating over a period of 9 years as today.
9 years. Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Yes.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question. I now hand the conference over to the management for the closing comments.
Yeah, thank you all participants for your patient hearing. And considering the discussions and the factors what we discussed, definitely our growth momentum will continue with sustainability in the margin side. So with those closing remarks, I wish to conclude this con call. And once again, I wish all the participants to wish you happy Diwali. Thank you all.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of ICICI Securities, that concludes this conference call. We thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines. Thank you.